It's time to get started on my comic book. What can I say? This is day 77 of 100 days of making comics. I don't know if that's the right spot, but it holds my camera, so, you know, can't be all bad. It holds. Another life hack in place. I always pull this one up because I want to make sure that I'm drawing the same kind of art and I don't get carried away because it's been a long time since I drew this. So it's really my own art style reference, if that makes any sense. Today I've been busy. I've already been making quite a lot of sketches and drawings just to warm up and to get my skills where I want them to be, which is fast and tight. Mainly in pencils, because I have this idea to maybe make a little money on the side drawing portraits out on the streets here in Barcelona. I've only moved to Barcelona last Tuesday. It's been very exciting, but it's also been there's been a lot of I've had quite an intense last 2 months in London, working my ass off, not having a lot of time for this, which was heartbreaking. So now that the first couple of days of readjusting and getting used to the idea that I've actually moved and quit my job and everything, and that I'm out here, it's time to get back into drawing comics. These sketches I just mentioned that I use for warm-ups this morning, some of them are on my Instagram, but whereas before sometimes I would show them in these videos as something to show, I've decided to split them off into another series called Sketch Doodle Draw. So if you're interested in my pencil art, you'll find those there. So right now I want to finish up, in case you don't know what this is about, I'm making a little comic book. My comic book is very much in the genre of Alien and The Thing and other kinds of monster movies where a group of explorers awaken something that they shouldn't have, and while they figure out what it is, they die one by one. It's very creepy. Welcome back, and I finished up the roughs for 3 more pages today. So all in all, pretty productive. Not quite as productive as yesterday, but I did take, I think I took like 2 hours on one of them, taking breaks. But yeah, pretty productive day moving forward this weekend. Also, I was locked in, and my friend never came back home with the key, so it wasn't like I had any choice but to make comic books, I'm just saying. But so quick recap. We left off with being introduced to the scavenger crew on the lower decks of this vessel that is rummaging around in an area where it should not be for its own safety, and it has come across a wanderer of this waste. Obviously they grab him, they go after him, but just as they are, we cut to a different part of the crew, the scavenger kids as I call them. And they have come across some very delicious, very large mushrooms. And this has caught the attention of their taskmaster, who notices that this is very much out of the ordinary, and it gives him a clue to where they might be. We got straight back into the action. So this top panel was a bit difficult because on the one hand I wanted to have fewer panels on this page and to just kind of concentrate the whole page on the 3 separate groups. So the people outside capturing the wanderer, the crew on the inside on the upper decks who are in charge of the vessel, and those on the lower decks. But with fewer panels, how can I still tell as much story as possible, because I'm trying to cram in as much as possible in just the opening 10 pages. So what I did on the top one, I made a smaller one. I inset a small panel where the tough guy is taking off his helmet Now, it might look like a spacesuit, but they're not in outer space. It is just, you know, an environmental suit, if you will. But it's just to kind of show how tough he is. And straight away, he takes it off, and he gets rocks and sand thrown in his face. Comes to the rescue from behind, capturing the Wanderer, to the delight of the people in the office, as I've designated them. There's more office politics in the background, as the corporate lady is sending the assistant back downstairs where she belongs after she was caught in her seat. More comments, like in these balloons, I kind of want to have them not just argue more, but like kind of reinforce the idea that, you know, they're out here, they're not doing well, they're supposed to hit their numbers, whatever it is they're doing, which is scavenging, and that's not happening. But this is precisely why they're out here. And so this is something I want to be able to refer back to, like this constant dread, like they're pushing into these wastes because they're desperate. So the next scene is on the lower decks. They drag the Wanderer in. So this is the continuation of the first big panel, and kind of the conclusion of what's been happening in the first couple of pages, where there's this drama of someone is outside and they go after him. Well, now they have him. So they bring him in. Let's cut to the next page, page 9. There's a little medical examination of, like, he's not really been in the picture very much, but I just kind of wanted to get it across that he's a bit sly. Like usually in this genre, like in movies like Aliens and The Thing, there's always some scientist guy who wants to investigate, and he ends up getting people more and more in trouble, and he tends to be a little bit more on the amoral side of things. And then we cut to the jail cell, where we left the elder sister a couple of pages ago. She got in trouble for passing food around. The food in question was the fungus, the giant fungus. Very interesting giant fungus. So she got herself in trouble with the taskmaster. In this jail cell, she's not alone, and she is kind of forced to have this conversation with someone who got himself in trouble a long time ago and got locked up for it. And the conversation has to center around the hope that some of them have to get out of their predicament. These kids, these people on the lower decks, they're basically slave labor. There's no way out for them. So the elder sister kind of has reconciled herself with her lot in life. She doesn't really know any better. But this guy constantly wants to go on and on about, you know, this mythical place where they can go. And just as she kind of puts her foot down and not having any of it because it doesn't exist anyway, along comes the evidence, the proof that that place does exist. And here is the Wanderer. The upper deck crews continue their conversation to deepen the mystery of who he is and what he might have seen. And they get cut off by the taskmaster wanting to have his say about where they are and what he thinks of it. And he also wants to make it clear that if they don't turn around because of the dangerous position they're in these wastelands, he's not having any of it. He's going to shut the place down. They're having that conversation. We cut back to the jail cell as the 3 prisoners discover a mysterious artifact that he's been carrying around himself, which is a flag, a pristine flag of an ancient symbol. That's it. That's my first 10 pages. So I'm very happy with the roughs. There's kind of like, I kind of want to point out that there's been a lot of organic writing, if you will. Like a lot of the text balloons you just saw, I kind of just I kind of just put them down to make sure that I have space for it. And then as I did, I started coming up with dialogue. And then there's stuff that I kind of go like, well, this has to happen. Like the scene where they grab the Wanderer from the outside was really a scene of, well, I want a big action scene, and I don't want to waste a whole page on it, even though I easily could, like them fighting and capturing each other, and that could be very exciting. But I'm limited by the 10 pages. Like I have to get this in the first 10 pages because I firmly believe that if I can't get people's attention in the first 10 pages, then this is not going to work. Then why would anyone want to stick around to issue 10? Tomorrow I want to spend time on getting the dialogue down and just write, and then continue on finishing up the pencils, like tightening up the pencils, and until ultimately, very soon I hope, I have a finished 10 pages. Because this is my day 77 of 100 days of making comics, and we're getting closer to 100. I'm actually like, ooh, I can't believe I'm actually getting close to the 100s. It felt so far off for so long, and I've certainly taken my time. So yeah, that's me, Jan. You can catch me online as Janimal if you want to see some of my sketches I've been making to warm up for this, my comic group project. But I will see you guys tomorrow. So, good night. I've just devised a little life hack. I just have to share this with you because this is very MacGyver. So, I have here bridges. I've tried to use this as a little stand for my camera because for the life of me, I can't find my little Gorilla tripod that you can wrap around things and everything. I want to make my little time lapses and keep track of my sketches, one of whom is right here. So I devised, a hack. I filled it up with water so it's got some weight. I cut this out, obviously being very careful the phone won't fall in because that would be horrible. Maybe I can fill it up with sand actually. That would be better. But yes, as you can imagine, the phone slides in. It's just the right size, so it kind of